What it do, bruh? Talk of the town, Nintendo, Doc Trey, still holding it down, still make the best games, and you know this, bro. It's the truth. You don't like it, you can have that seatbelt. Alright, so with the whole x86 versus ARM processor whole debate going on regarding the NX CPU, I stumbled upon an article that was very interesting. And actually, it's an older article that I read a long time ago, but reading it today gives a lot more insight. Now, this article is from Forbes.com, and it's a Forbes contributor, so don't take this as 100% legit fact. But the reason why I believe this is true and that this person isn't lying is purely based on the date of the article. This article was written 5 months before the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One even launched. This is back in 2013. Nobody was even talking about ARM being in any kind of game console as the main CPU. So there's no kind of real bias here. There's no fanboy agenda or anything like that. And the title of the article is The Real Reasons Why Microsoft and Sony Chose AMD for Consoles, right? So let me read to you what it says. It says, to get at why Microsoft and Sony chose AMD, you need to start with the content needs. Both makers were looking for a way to increase the console footprint, increase the amount of apps, and lower the cost of software development. The Xbox One and the PlayStation 4 are designed to do a lot more than games. They designed the consoles to be the future hub of all home entertainment and home automation and control. To effectively do this, they will need hundreds of complex apps that are relatively straightforward to code. Therefore, you need to start with an application processor architecture that supports this, and it's not power architecture. The app processors that power today's 360 and PlayStation 3 are based on the power architecture. It delivered decent performance 7 years ago, but it is much more difficult to program than ARM, MIPS, or x86. Additionally, the technological investment in ARM's, MIPS, and x86 architectures and ecosystems dwarfed PowerPC over the last decade, rendering power obsolete for the required performance per watt. In a world where you need your console needs to have as many apps as your smartphone, the only answer was ARM, MIPS, or x86. Now he says, my sources have confirmed for me that both Sony and Microsoft felt that MIPS didn't have the right size developer ecosystem or the horsepower to power the new consoles. Then it came down to ARM versus x86 architecture. I am told that there was a technical bake-off where prototype silicon was tested against each other across a myriad of application-based and synthetic benchmarks. At the end of the bake-off, ARM was deemed as not having the right kind of horsepower and that its 64-bit architecture wasn't ready soon enough. 64-bit was important as it maximized memory addressability, and the next-gen console needed to run multiple apps, operating systems, and hypervisors. ARM-based architectures will soon get as powerful as AMD's Jaguar cores, but not when Sony or Microsoft needed them for their consoles. Now, the reason why that is very interesting is, one, it shows you that Sony and Microsoft, if this is true, were very, very, very close to using ARM processors as their main CPUs for the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One way back in 2013. And the only reason they didn't do that was two reasons. One, the ARM processors at the time were 32-bit and they needed to be 64. And two, the horsepower wasn't there yet. Now in 2016, the newest, most powerful ARM processors are 64-bit and are more powerful than the Jaguar cores that are in the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One. So what that tells you there is, had these chips, say, the ARM A72 been readily available back in 2013, we may have had a PlayStation 4 or Xbox One that used the ARM architecture for the CPU. It also shows that unless Sony and Microsoft think that backwards compatibility is very, very important, when the PlayStation 5 come out and the next Xbox come out, it's a huge possibility that those could use ARM as well. Just something to think about. Let me know what you guys think.